Africa is rising. Every generation has its frontier of growth, and while the 20th century belonged to Asia, the next 2 decades may well belong to Africa. With a population projected to reach 2.5 billion people by the year 2050, and with the youngest workforce on the planet, the continent is poised to become one of the most important engines of the global economy. Add to that the African Continental Free Trade Area, now the largest free trade market in the world by population, and you begin to see why investors, innovators, and entrepreneurs are watching Africa closely. But the question is, where exactly will the greatest opportunities lie over the coming 20 years? The first and perhaps most obvious area is Africa's wealth of minerals. The world's transition to green energy and electric mobility depends on cobalt, lithium, manganese, and rare earth elements. The Democratic Republic of Congo alone supplies nearly 70% of the world's cobalt, and Zimbabwe has significant lithium deposits. Over the next 20 years, demand for these minerals can only increase, making Africa an indispensable player in the global supply chain. But the real opportunity lies not only in extracting these resources, but in refining and processing them locally, capturing far more value than simple raw exports. Closely tied to this is Africa's renewable energy potential. More than 600 million Africans still lack reliable electricity, yet the continent is blessed with abundant solar corridors, powerful winds, and vast geothermal reservoirs. Countries like Morocco have already built some of the largest solar power plants in the world. Kenya leads in geothermal production, and Namibia and South Africa are positioning themselves as global suppliers of green hydrogen. Over the next 2 decades, as energy demand soars both within Africa and globally, renewable power generation and export will be one of the most transformative investments on the continent. Agriculture, too, is a cornerstone of Africa's future. Today, nearly 60% of Africans work in farming, but productivity remains low. By 2050, Africa's food demand will more than double, creating immense opportunities in agritech, irrigation, cold storage, and food processing. Imagine not only feeding Africa's growing cities, but also supplying agricultural products to the rest of the world. With 60% of the planet's uncultivated arable land, Africa is uniquely positioned to be a global breadbasket. The digital economy is another powerful driver of growth. Already, Africa is home to over 400 million internet users, and mobile penetration has transformed daily life. Fintech innovations like Kenya's M-Pesa and Nigeria's Flutterwave have shown the world how mobile money can leapfrog traditional banking systems. Over the next 20 years, we can expect explosive growth in e-commerce, digital services, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence adoption. A continent full of young, tech-savvy citizens is ready to build the next wave of global digital solutions. Healthcare and pharmaceuticals represent a sector that is both a necessity and an opportunity. Currently, Africa imports more than 70% of its medicines, a dependence that is neither sustainable nor affordable. With growing middle-class populations demanding better healthcare, opportunities abound in local drug manufacturing, hospital networks, biotech innovation, and telemedicine. The next 20 years will see Africa striving to build healthcare systems that can serve both rural and urban populations at scale. But no sector can flourish without infrastructure. Africa faces an annual infrastructure gap of around $100 billion, spanning roads, rail, ports, housing, and airports. As cities grow and urban populations swell, demand for affordable housing, transport systems, and utilities will rise exponentially. Smart city initiatives like Konza Technopolis in Kenya and Kigali's Smart City project in Rwanda are early signs of what the future holds. For investors, infrastructure will remain both a challenge and one of the continent's most consistent opportunities. Tourism and the creative economy are also set for long-term expansion. Before the pandemic, tourism contributed nearly $170 billion to Africa's GDP, and it is rebounding strongly. But the future of tourism will go far beyond safaris. Ecotourism, cultural tourism, film, music, and digital entertainment are already making waves. Nollywood in Nigeria and Afro beats on the global music scene show how Africa's creative industries can become global exports. Within 20 years, Africa could rival Hollywood and South Korea's K-pop industry in cultural influence. Education and skills development will be at the heart of Africa's transformation. By 2030, 1 in 5 of the world's workers will be African. The demand for affordable, high-quality education is immense. From online universities to coding academies and vocational training programs, EdTech and skills development ventures are set to grow dramatically. The next 20 years will decide whether Africa's demographic boom becomes a dividend or a burden. Manufacturing, supported by AFCFTA, offers another powerful growth area. Africa accounts for less than 2% of global manufacturing today, but with lower wages than Asia and improved trade integration, it has the potential to become the next global production hub. Textiles, automobiles, and consumer goods can all be produced regionally and traded within Africa's vast free trade market, helping the continent reduce reliance on imports. Finally, climate and sustainability ventures represent not only a challenge but also an enormous opportunity. Africa holds vast forests, rich biodiversity, and most of the world's untapped arable land. As the world grapples with climate change, Africa will be at the center of solutions, from climate-smart agriculture to reforestation and carbon markets. Green finance and carbon offset projects will open entirely new streams of investment, making sustainability not just an environmental priority, but a business one as well. Of course, the road ahead is not without risks. Political instability, infrastructure gaps, governance challenges, and climate threats remain real barriers. But the long-term direction is clear. Africa is not just catching up, it is shaping the future. For investors and entrepreneurs willing to think long-term, the opportunities are as vast as the continent itself. So, which of these 10 opportunities do you believe will define Africa's next 20 years? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Africa Biz Media for more deep dives into the markets, growth stories, and opportunities transforming Africa.